Hey folks, and welcome back to Glenn and Adrian's Rock Talk. That's Adrian.
And that's Glenn.
And today we are going to take a look at a classic song that comes from the Joe Walsh camp, essentially. I think that this was actually a James Gang song, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was on their second album, Brides Again. But it's Funk 49, and it's done in 2021, pretty much the tail end of COVID and all that. And we have ourselves an incredible lineup doing this song. Joe Walsh, of course, is good friends with The Section, which includes Leland Sklar, Russ Kunkel, and Waddy Wachtel. Those three guys have been on so many records in the last 50 years that your head would explode if you saw the list. It's huge. But things like, they were on Linda Ronstadt records, James Taylor records, Crosby, Stills, Nash. It's actually an endless list. I couldn't possibly, I should stop naming people now because it's pointless. So they're in there, all three of those guys, along with Joe Walsh, and so is Ringo Starr of the Beatles. And Leland, of course, was beside himself, being able to sit in between Russ Kunkel, his old buddy, and Ringo Starr. Leland actually mentioned that he saw the Beatles at the Hollywood Bowl in the mid-'60s. In fact, I think he was an usher for the show. So it's kind of a full circle moment for him. And the keyboards on this are done by Benmont Tench, who was the keyboardist for Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. They met at a place called The Village in Los Angeles, a recording studio. I'm sure it's had other names over time. I just thought this would be a really cool thing to look at. I haven't seen it. I have heard it talked about, but I've never actually seen the clip before. So, Adrian?
I know the song Funk 49. It's been one I've frequently heard for a while anyway.
Yeah.
And, it's a song I like, too.
Yeah, it's a cool one, and I've had friends that just stuck it in their set lists on a regular basis. It's always a crowd pleaser. I haven't heard Joe Walsh do it any time since the record came out way back over 50 years ago. So this should be fun. So with that, why don't we dive into this star-studded event of Funk 49, and we'll talk about it later.
credits.
Yeah. All right, let's take one now.
Yeah. It's not good what they say.
So now let's do it for real, is what they're using.
I would have said before this that Funk 49 is not one of my favorite songs, but I enjoy listening to it. But man, after hearing this jam, I don't know. I think I've got a new favorite.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's a good jamming vehicle for sure. And it became clear to me, maybe you noticed too, Adrian, that they had not intended to play that song. It just kind of happened. It was pretty clear that it came up out of thin air. Somebody heard Joe pick up the Funk 49 riff, and everybody fell in. And yeah, they lost it a little bit at the end, but you know what? Under those circumstances, what are you going to do? What are you going to fault them for?
It was like an impromptu performance.
It's exactly what it was, and it was pretty cool. It's, those guys are all 70 plus. Well, Benmont Tench may be a little bit younger than that in this clip. Ringo's 81, so and still playing what looked like pretty solid drums to me.
Yeah, who was the other drummer? I just noticed that was one cool thing about this too, is that there were two drummers and they were doing the same thing.
Yeah, that was Russ Kunkel, who was in the section with Leland Sklar and Waddy Wachtel, who was the guitar player. Those three guys, and occasionally with Danny Korchmar, those three guys together made so many albums together for other artists that it would be impossible to get an entire list together. I mean, several hundred. Yeah, Russ Kunkel is one of the storied names in rock and roll drumming history. He's up there with, Jim Gordon, Jim Keltner, and many others. I'm not going to start naming names. Again, the same thing will happen. I'll leave very worthy names off the list. Forget it. But he's up there. He's a good one. And so he's been doing this a long time. Locks right in with Leland and with Waddy. So, and they probably also appeared on Warren Zevon records, for that matter, and other things. So lots of different artists, particularly who are recording in Southern California. You just never know where he's going to turn up. For me, the real highlight is seeing Ringo just drum and jam and play. I noticed one of his helpers came up, and I don't know if the headphones were coming off his head. That's exactly what it was. I'm looking now. His headphones were coming off. They were like coming down in front of his face, and he kept going, and somebody came out, put them back where they belong.
That was nice.
Oh, I mean, you don't want to ruin the jam, right? So.
Right. Yeah. Awesome.
So that was a great treat. Ringo just doesn't get enough credit for the amazing drums that he put down in the Beatles.
Yeah.
Every song was different. Every song was unique, and you don't hear other drummers playing most of the stuff he played. He's like one of the songwriters practically, or at least he was a great arranger, for the group. Loads of fun there. So glad to see that. Now, folks, if you have seen Joe Walsh play Funk 49 in a live setting, please let us know. Or if you've heard any of these guys play it, maybe somebody else had it on their set list, would be interested to know. And let us know what you thought about this particular performance. We know it was a little loose, but it was still highly rewarding to watch that. And yeah, if you have other suggestions for us, please leave those below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give us a like. And if you enjoyed our presentation, please subscribe. All right. Thanks so much for joining us on this. We appreciate your support, and we will catch you on the next one. All right. Take care, folks.
See you all later.